Hey all, so we're going to walk through a few cotangent and tangent graph transformations. So we'll start with cotangent. I think it's the easier one to graph, so we'll graph that one first. We're looking at 2 cotangent of 3x. So the 2 tells us it's a vertical stretch or an amplitude of 2, and that's going to tell us how quick we go up or down, our slopes go up or down. So we can still call it amplitude, and I'll show you what that looks like. And then the 3 still affects the period, but the big difference with tangent and cotangent is the period of the normal graph is pi. So instead of doing 2 pi divided by 3, our period is going to be pi divided by 3. So that's going to be your big difference, is that you use pi instead of 2 pi there. So what that means is our entire cotangent graph. So cotangent starts with an asymptote, and then it does that little squiggle and has another asymptote. That's one period of it. So that whole graph will happen in pi over 3. And then we'll divide it up from there. So the main points we're looking for are where the asymptote is, switch colors, where the asymptote is, what that top point is, the middle point, the bottom point, and then another asymptote. So we're going to split it up into fourths just like we did sine and cosine. So for cotangent, we'll go ahead and label our graph. There isn't any horizontal shift, so we'll still start with 0. We know we're ending with pi over 3. And now we have to divide that up into fourths just like before. So we can use that same trick. Our period's pi over 3. If we divide pi over 3 by 4, that means every tick mark is going to move by pi over 12. So we start with 0. The next one would be pi over 12. That next tick mark would technically be 2 pi over 12, but that would reduce to pi over 6. That third tick mark would be 3 pi over 12. But that one also reduces to pi over 4. And then the last tick mark would be pi over 3. Technically, that's 4 pi over 12. So we're just adding that 1 pi over 12 each time. Now it's just a matter of graphing our cotangent. So we know cotangent starts with an asymptote. And then it has a point where we'll say top, just like we did before. And that amplitude of 2 means that that point is going to be up here at 2. And then it will hit the middle. The next point will be down at -2, and then we have another asymptote. Connect our graphs, kind of do a little squiggly line both ways, and there's one period of your cotangent graph. If you wanted to keep graphing more and more, it would keep making this pattern over and over again. But all I'm asking for is to be able to graph one full period with all those marks. Okay, so tangent can be a little bit trickier to graph just because if we think one period of tangent, so we know of our parent tangent graph, it had a middle point at 0. So technically if we just go to the right, we could go like up to the right, an asymptote, and then down from the bottom, which looks kind of funny. You'd rather see like the full squiggle line, if you will, between the asymptotes. So really, this is our parent graph. So it's better to kind of work both ways with tangent. So it starts in the middle, goes up to the right, down to the left, and then you have your asymptotes. So our 4 points will go like this, but the problem is we're starting in the middle of the graph. So technically you could just build to the right, it's just very disjointed. So to get like a full continuous graph, we can build to the left and to the right. So what that looks like, I purposely did a phase shift on this one to help us see it. So this phase shift means we're moving right, pi over 2. There isn't a number in front of the x, it's just a 1. So that means our period will be pi. So we know between these two asymptotes are pi apart. And then this 1/2 tells us our amp is 1/2. So this point will be at 1/2. This point would be at -1/2. That's what that's telling us. So now let's adjust and get our labels. So right pi over 2 means we're going to start here at pi over 2. Okay, so now we have to figure out how we're dividing this all up. I might have actually guessed that fairly well. Switch colors so we can see. So our period's pi. A little bit messy. So we always divide our period to figure out how it's moving at each tick mark. We divide that by 4. So that means there's going to be pi over 4 between our tick marks. So now with tangent, we want to move to the right and to the left just so we can see more. So pi over 2 is the same as saying 2 pi over 4. So notice, we go 2 tick marks to the right, 2 tick marks to the left. So pi over 2 minus pi over 4 will put us at pi over 4. Minus again puts us at 0. Plus pi over 4 would put us at 3 pi over 4. Plus another would be 4 pi over 4, which is technically just pi. So this way we know that middle point is when tangent crosses its midline, which we haven't moved up or down, so that's still at 0. Tangent is an increasing graph, so as you read it from left to right, it should be going up. So let's get our 1/2 marks on here. So as it goes to the right, we're going up to 1/2. As it goes to the left, we're going down -1/2. There's our line, and then this just means we have our asymptotes at 0 and pi. So really, just like with secant, cosecant, sine, and cosine, tangent and cotangent are similar shapes, just shifted of each other. So this really just looks like an upside-down cotangent graph now. So your big thing for tangent is just make sure you're building from the middle and then building out to both sides. Use that dividing the period up by 4 to figure out what you should be adding to figure out what those tick marks are. Okay, so let's do one more. This time it's the cotangent one. This negative outside means we have a reflection, which that means cotangent normally decreases. That means now it'll really look like the tangent, and it'll increase. This plus pi over 2 means we're moving left pi over 2. And now down 3, this minus 3 means we're moving the midline down 3. So, and then there's just a 1 here. So our period is still pi, which means that it'll be pi over 4 between each tick mark. So we'll start our graph. We're going left pi over 2, so negative pi over 2. And then again, we know we're moving pi over 4 between each tick mark, so that's like saying negative 2 pi over 4, which means we'll have our next tick mark at negative pi over 4. And then we'll have our next one at 0, next one at pi over 4, and then our next one at 2 pi over 4, which is technically pi over 2. And that's our 5 tick marks, so we have a bookend on each side, so we're good there. And we know cotangent, the pattern for cotangent is it starts with an asymptote. Normally it goes down first, but since it's reflected, it'll go up, and then we'll have another asymptote. So we know that first spot there will start with our asymptote. And then we haven't dealt with that midline yet, have we? So now we're going to go down 1, 2, 3. This is our new midline of our graph. And then the amplitude is 1, so that means our bottom point will be at -4, top point will be at -2. So now we can build from here. So at negative pi over 4, we're 1 below the midline. At 0, we're on the midline. At pi over 4, we're 1 above the midline. And then we have another asymptote. Connect our lines, make it as smooth as possible, and we're good to go. So hopefully that helped tangent and cotangent. Again, if you have any questions, email me. I'm happy to answer. If we need another video, I can make another video. But happy graphing all.